Hi, everyone. It's Courtney Edmond here today to talk about an experimental and growth mindset in the In It Together parenting course and how that plays into our approach with our neurodivergent kids and why it's important. So, as you may remember from the whole new approach communication model, where we kind of cycle around in inviting our child's ideas into the conversation and coming up with strategies to scaffold them to then spin out into a win-win situation. So sometimes we really don't know what might work with our kids. We have a lot of ideas, and this happens in executive function coaching with clients. Also, we have a lot of ideas. We bring a big toolbox with us for what strategies might work. But until we put them into action, we don't necessarily know if they will work. And so, what we want to invite our parents to do, what we invite our clients to do, what we invite the kids to do, is to have an experimental and a growth mindset, because we are working to build skills. We are working to build habits. We are working to build new routines and ways of doing things. And we are working to strengthen those pathways in our brain and the connections in our brain in order to be able to have more goal directed behavior, to be successful in achieving our goals. And in that process of spinning around ideas and brainstorming ideas, we as parents have to keep an open mind, because we don't know whether, because some of the ideas that we have require logical linear thinking, and some of the ideas that our kids have require out of the, are going to have out of the box unconventional ideas. And the key is to keep an open mind to say, I wonder what might be possible. I wonder if this worked. Let's give it a try. Let's see how we can adjust what we know has worked with other people and implement it in a different way for your brain. And maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. And the only way that we know is to give it a try. One of the things that I invite and share with new clients that I'm getting started working with is what I really expect in coaching is to show up, engage in the process, and be honest. Because it's through honesty and engaging in the process that we can iterate. We can figure out, and we can be problem solvers together to figure out what strategies are going to work with your individual brain. A calendar might work for one person, an Excel spreadsheet might work for another person. And what is important is not being stuck in needing our kids to do it a particular way. The process of doing it can be as individualized as our child is. The important piece is that they figure out how to work with the brain that they have to achieve the outcome that is needed or that they want. Of course, you have to work within the boundaries of rules, requirements, and so forth. But the important thing is that we figure out a way and a process that works, strategies that work, and not doing it a particular way. So that is what can be fun about, it's what's hard, but that is what can be fun about parenting a neurodivergent kid. We never know what strategies might work, and we can experiment. We can say, well, let's try this and let's see what happens. Right? When we implement something, we get feedback. Everything is feedback, and we can use that feedback to reflect and then change, improve, right? So we implement it, we try it out, we figure out what worked, what didn't work, and what are the obstacles that are still in the way. And we continue to go through that process until we find something that works. And if we feel like it worked, well, we just keep trying it. One of the challenges is that our kids like novelty. So it might work. So that it might work for a week or two, but the true test is to see if it works over time. And if it works over time, that's your key and your clue to continue to allow it to work, to become more of a habit and a routine, and build the skill rather than it's the novelty that's giving you buy-in. So one of the reasons why we don't have a curriculum per se in building executive function skills is because we don't want to have to force our kids to be locked into doing it, the learning the skill any particular way. We want to go about it working with however their brain works and whatever their brain works, but it requires an openness to trying, an openness to possibility, an openness to experimentation, because it's through experimentation and having that open mind growth mindset, like I can learn, it's possible to learn, both from the parent and from the child. It takes a team, and sometimes it takes a team of trial and error from the teacher too, or the team of teachers or the guidance counselor, to see what might be possible. How can we get creative to provide something that this child needs in order to build the skill? What is possible? That is the essence of having an experimental and a growth mindset. What's possible? How do we get from point A to point B and work with the brain of the person that's in front of us rather than with my brain or the brain of my other children? We have to work with the individual and meet that individual's needs and go through that process together of building skills, building habits, building routines. If you want more information on the growth mindset, Carol Dweck is the expert in growth mindset, and I encourage you to read her work or review her work. And it's a growth mindset that allows us to continue as adults and as kids to learn and to understand and to be supportive of what's the right next step. What's the right next step in meeting this goal? What's the right next step in my life? It's maybe I go down this path. Okay, well, this path dead ended. Well, now I have to take a left, or now I have to take a right. So life is not linear, even though we may want it to be. it's it's a path of twists and turns, and when we get to a destination and we find that it's not where we want to be, we stop, we reflect, and we think, what's next? What's the right next step? And what do I need to do in order to manage this next step? Have fun. Having an experimental growth mindset, when we can adopt it, can lead to a lot of fun, opportunity, and unknown destinations. I hope this was helpful.